Hi everyone, and welcome back to biology class. Today we are going to cover topic 2, classification, and today we're going to mainly focus on arthropods. But before we get into it, let us do a recap from our previous lesson. So previously we had this learning objective 2.1.2, and we had to define species. Species can be defined as a group of organisms that can reproduce to produce a fertile offspring. The second learning objective was 2.1.3, and this was to describe the binomial system of naming species. And what we had to do was that we had to learn the fact that we use the genus name and the species name to give scientific names of organisms. For example, here, Homo here is a genus, and sapien here is a species name. And therefore, humans, the common name humans, but the scientific name is Homo sapiens. Another example is malarial parasite. These guys right here are the parasites, and they are actually infecting right now red blood cells. You can see a circle with an empty spot in the middle that shows that they don't have a nucleus, and your red blood cell is specialized in that way. The scientific name for a malarial parasite is Plasmodium falciparum. We also looked at classification in the animal kingdom and mainly the vertebrates, and we looked at their main features. And you even made me a very nice table, so thank you so much for your homework submission. Today we're going to continue this learning objective, which is to state the main features used to place all organisms into one of the 5 kingdoms: animal, plant, fungus, prokaryotes, and protista. However, today we're going to mainly focus on the second part of the animal kingdom, which is the arthropods. So today's step to success is to state the main features of arthropods, which is in the animal kingdom. So before, in year 7 and year 8, we learned to divide animals into vertebrates or invertebrates. And as for vertebrates, we looked at mammals, reptiles, fishes, amphibians, and birds. However, for invertebrates, we divided into 3, which is annelids, molluscs, and arthropods. Today we're focusing on invertebrates, but in O levels, you're only going to mainly focus on the arthropod group. But I just wanted to refresh your memory for annelids and molluscs as well. So annelids are types of worms whose bodies are divided into several parts, and those parts are called segments. Segments are like rings that are joined together. There are many kinds of worms, but only annelids are segmented this way. They have no legs and no hard skeleton. Examples are earthworm, leeches, lugworms, and polychaetes. So if you want to describe annelid, you can just say types of worms whose body is divided into several parts, for example, segments, and talk about the examples as well. Molluscs are a large group of invertebrate animals. They have soft bodies, and their bodies are not divided into rings like the segmented worms called annelids. They don't have legs, though some have flexible tentacles for sensing their environment or grabbing things. Most mollusk species grow a hard shell for protection, but their shell grows in only 1 or 2 pieces. It doesn't have any jointed legs like exoskeletons of insects and crustaceans. Examples of mollusks are snails, clams, and octopus. So to define an arthropod, this group of invertebrates, they have exoskeleton, which is an external skeleton. They have a segmented body, and they have paired jointed legs. So all of the arthropods actually have these features. And what we mean by exoskeleton is this stiff covering on the outside of some of these organisms. You can see right here that this covering right here actually is not living. It's just a stiff covering, and that came from this living animal right here. That's called the exoskeleton. So all arthropods have exoskeleton. They have segmented body. Some of them are divided into head, thorax, and abdomen. Others are a bit different, and they all have jointed legs. That means that they have these different parts that are kind of like pretty much joined together. That's what we mean by jointed legs. Arthropods are divided into 4 main groups. You have insects, myriapods, arachnids, and Crustacea. Insects have bodies that are divided into 3 sections: the head, the thorax, and the abdomen. They also have antenna, which is used to sense for the senses of touch and smell. Arthropods, like insects, have 1 pair of compound eyes. And compound eyes means that they consist an array of numerous small visual units. So these are what we mean by compound eyes. They're made into little tiny, even more tinier parts, but they are joined as one. Adult insects have 6 legs attached to the thorax in the middle section, and they may have wings that are attached to the thorax. They lay eggs, and their babies are called larvae. Examples are butterfly, beetles, and grasshoppers. Next up, we have the myriapods. Myriapods are centipedes and basically millipedes, and some small relatives. They look like worms with lots of legs, and they are actually arthropods. They have a tough exoskeleton and jointed legs. Myriapods have simple eyes. They have 1 pair of antennae, but they have many more legs than insects do. 6 to 20 legs, even 6 to 20 pairs of legs, or even more. So the main examples we can give is millipede and centipede. Next up, we have arachnid. Arachnids have 8 legs, and unlike insects, they don't have antennae. The bodies of arachnids are divided into 2 sections, the cephalothorax and the abdomen. So right here, cephalothorax, the first part, and then you have the abdomen behind. They have several pairs of simple eyes. They also have these features called pallipops, which are for biting and poisoning prey. They do not have any wings, and many, not all, arachnids use silk to either catch prey or help them reproduce. Arachnids lay eggs as well. And main examples are spiders, mites, and scorpions. Lastly, we have the group Crustacea of the arthropods. They mostly live underwater. Only some can live on land, but need damp and places with water to live. They have hard exoskeleton, and they also have jointed legs. They have 1 pair of compound eyes. So here you have the compound eyes. And they also have 2 pairs of antennae, and they're very tiny though. They have overlapping plates for protection and 1 pair of big claws. They can have around 10 walking legs for some, and 2 legs can be modified into pincers. These are what we call pincers. They pinch you, and I'm sure it'll hurt. Crustacea also lay eggs, and the main examples of Crustacea are crabs, lobsters, and shrimps. So let's look into our S2S and recap everything. We just had to state the main features of the arthropods in the animal kingdom. So firstly, let's look into insects. We're going to focus on these features: legs, bodies, antenna, eyes, and wings. Insects have 3 pairs of legs, body divided into head, thorax, and abdomen, so 3 parts. They have 1 pair of antennae, 1 pair of compound legs, and usually have 2 pairs of wings. Examples are butterflies, beetles, and grasshoppers. Myriapods have 10 or more pairs of legs, 1 pair per segment. Body is divided into segments, different segments, and lots of them. I mean that. Yes, I mean it. Antenna, 1 pair. They have a pair of simple eyes, and they don't have wings. Examples of myriapod is millipede and centipede. Arachnids have 4 pairs of legs, divided into 2. Their bodies divided into 2, the cephalothorax and the abdomen. They don't have antennae, but they do have several pair of simple eyes. They don't have wings, but have pedipalps adapted for biting and poisoning prey. Examples of arachnids are spiders, mites, and scorpions. Lastly, we have the Crustacea group. They have 5 or more pairs of limbs. They're divided into 2. Their bodies divided into 2, which is the cephalothorax and the abdomen. They have 2 pairs of antennae and 1 pair of compound eyes. They don't have wings, but they do have hard covering over most of their bodies. And examples of Crustacea is crabs, lobster, and shrimp. And that is all for today. So thank you so much. I hope you guys are staying healthy and strong. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!